Welcome everyone, my name is Nate and this is Abigail and we are excited to be with you today. Abigail, what's a question on the hearts of young people?
I know a lot of times they're asking how do I know it's God's voice? Because it's so easy when you're getting, especially at the beginning of this, maybe far into it, you can come to a point in your life where you're just like, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's God, and it can be really confusing.
People really want to hear God's voice, and especially when it comes to what am I supposed to do with my life? Who am I supposed to marry? Where am I supposed to go? What's the vocation I'm supposed to live in? People really want to know. And so here we're coming to you today to help break that down so that you can know that you have heard from God. So let's start with a couple of basics. If we were out in a park, Abigail, and I was yelling at you from the other side of the park, would you recognize my voice?
Of course.
Okay, well, if some other random dude was yelling your voice, would it be the same to you?
No.
No,
Of course not.
of course not. Why not?
Because I know you. I know what you sound like.
Right, you know what I sound like, but even beyond just the sound of my voice, we've spent time together, right?
Yeah.
And that's really important to understand. When you go to hear God's voice, He speaks inside of us. It sounds like our own voice in our own head, only different. That's the easiest way to describe it. But when you really spend time with someone, you learn what that voice sounds like. So like for you, Abigail, when you were little, I would ask you to pick up your toys.
A lot, yeah.
A lot. Or I'd ask you to do a chore, or we would do something together. You were used to hearing my voice about all kinds of little things, but relationship was developed. And that's really what we want to bring you to today. It's time with God about lots of little things that builds up to where you recognize that voice, whether it matters or not. And really that comes down because many people ask the questions about these specifics. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Who am I supposed to marry? But it comes right down to relationship at the end of the day.
And it comes down to asking really what matters most to God. That's completely different than what we may see as what matters most.
That really drives it home right there because it goes beyond just the words that I'm speaking, right? Like if I were to ask you, Abigail, what do I want you to make for supper tonight? If you asked me that question, you would automatically know what?
Yeah, I would know at least an idea of what you're probably wanting.
And what I probably don't want, right? Because you know tofu is not my favorite dish.
Sure.
It's not. But you know there's other things that are my favorite dishes. See, you know me enough to know my heart. And what happens is people like to ask these very specific questions of God, but are they tuned in enough to know His heart? See, what may matter to you or to me or to you may not be what matters to God. We have to spend enough time in relationship with Him that we know what's on His heart, what matters to Him, and from that, you're going to have confidence towards God, right?
Right. And there's times that I've come to you to say something and you know what the motive of my heart is.
A father knows his daughter. Yeah. A father knows his child. God knows you. He knows what's in your heart. He knows what you're thinking. And when a child comes to a father, he knows before they even open their mouth the attitude of their heart. And that brings me to a verse I wanted to bring up here tonight, and that's in Mark chapter 4. And Mark chapter 4 is the sower and the seed, the good soil, the bad soil, all that type of thing. And you get down in chapter 4, verse 20, it says, "But these are the ones sown on good ground, those who hear the word, accept it, and bear fruit." And the point I want to make with that is, let me ask you a question. If God told you exactly what to do right now, would you accept it unconditionally?
That depends on the person who's watching, isn't it?
It does. It depends on our own heart attitude. It's about preparation. See, surrender is a big part of hearing God. If we only want to hear God for what we put in a box as our parameters, it's really going to limit what we can actually hear. If you come to me and ask me very specific questions and you're not willing to accept the input I have in your life, it's going to limit what I can actually give you. I could give it to you, but it's not going to be received. So are you in a place where you're ready to receive? God, I will do what you tell me to do, whether I want to or not. And it's easy to even say those words, but it's the attitude of your heart. I'm growing in this. I'm not where I was even 6 months ago. I have learned how to lay down my life more and more. How about you, Abigail?
Definitely the same. It's always a process of learning to trust. Learning to trust in him and know that when he speaks, he wants the best for you. He wants what's good for you. And that takes some time to build up. So just being willing to let God have an influence on your life, speak into your life, and that no matter what he says, that you're going to say yes, like that you're going to accept it because you know that he's a good father.
Absolutely. Confidence towards God is really what opens up the door for receiving. And that again comes right back to spending time with him, talking to him about little things, what's on his heart, what's going on. From all those little conversations, you have confidence that he has the very best towards you. God has the best for you.
Yes.
I just encourage you to be willing to lay down your life. In doing so, you are going to hear from him. You're going to walk with him. You're going to talk with him. You are going to experience a life that few people do. We have to come to that point of surrender. And in that point, he pours out his blessing upon us and gives us a life, not of ease, but a life that is good. A life that he is in, that will have eternal value and eternal purpose. We want that for you. God wants that for me, for you, for you. It's awesome.
Yes. And I just want to speak to you right now who's watching. God has a plan and a purpose for you. Don't give up on that. Yes. In this time, it's okay if you've fallen down, if you've tripped. We all have at some point. Get up. Just look to him and everything will be okay. Because God is with you and he loves you and he has the best for you. You haven't missed him. He's there with you right now and he's speaking and it's good.
That's the attitude of a good father. A good father wants the best for you, no matter what your earthly father's been like. God is a good father who wants the best for you. We love you. We're glad you've joined us today. If this video has blessed you, we just ask you to like it, share it, pass it on to somebody else. Ask some questions back. Make some comments. How has this video impacted you?
Yeah. Awesome.
You happy with that?